Yo guys, Marlon King here, how you doing? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to invest your first £1,000. I'm going to be talking about how I've invested my money, how they usually recommend you invest money, and stick around to the end and I'm going to show you which one worked out for the best. So this video is a little bit different to my usual videos on this channel. It's part of a new making money playlist that I'm working on, and I've already made one video about how much I make on YouTube. So definitely go and check that out, because I've been taking the money that I make on YouTube and investing it, which is what I'm going to be talking about here. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if this interests you at all, because I'll be planning to make more videos like this in the future. So I think the best place to start with is how much have I made so far. I opened up the account, my ISA in the UK, in around about June, July time, 2020. And I'm going to share this on the screen. So let's start by looking at the bottom. We can see my total account value is 1,298. 78 of that I haven't invested yet. And we can see my positions running are £1,220 in value. So yes, a little bit more than £1,000. And you can see that my current profit is £55. So that may not seem like loads, but I'm going to talk about why that's actually quite reasonable. Now I'm going to run through all of these investments that I've made throughout the course of the year. But before I do, I just want to say I am not a financial advisor. I am showing you what I've done, what you could do, and maybe how well I've done compared with the usual advice. So the usual advice would be if you've only got a small amount of money and you don't want to get too involved in research, just start investing on an index like the S&P 500. You could do the FTSE 100 if you want to keep it UK based, but keep it simple, and usually those indexes will have a fair amount of increase each year, 5-6%, maybe more. So on average, you can still beat the bank's interest rates. However, but we'll check that at the end, right? Let's keep that as the end part. I'm going to compare what I could have made versus what I have made. Right, fingers crossed you can see the screen. So you can see my first investment was Aston Martin, and I purchased £108 worth when they were at 71.90. Now let's have a look. Now what we can see here, if we just look at this graph, I don't know whether my mouse cursor is going to show on this video, but if we look just before July time, they dipped down to nearly 35 points, and then they started to climb, and this was because they announced that their CEO was going to be replaced by someone from Mercedes, AMG, and it looked very promising. So the stock started to go up. So I made my purchase, and unfortunately I made it probably quite near the top. And as we can see, it dropped back down, and actually it hung around the 40-50 mark for the majority of the year. It's only just recently started to creep back up. It is what it is, but I bought that with the plans of, if you see at the beginning here, it was up at nearly 200 points. I thought buying at 70, maybe over the course of a year or two, I could double my money. And I still think that, if anything, it might even go a little bit higher, depending on how long I want to hold it. So moving on to the next one, this was Scottish Mortgage Investment Trust. This one was a recommendation, and you could say this is the equivalent of investing into the S&P 500. However, it was a little bit more of a selection that I was interested in. So things like Tesla, Amazon, we scroll down, we've got Netflix, Nvidia, Spotify. So I was quite happy with, and Google's in there as well. So I was quite happy with this list. It was a nice kind of tech selection, and I'll be honest with you, it's been performing really well. This is probably one of my best investments this year. As you can see, I've made £79.96 with this one, and I've invested a total amount of £421. And I've done that over maybe 3 or 4 investments, so that wasn't a massive bulk purchase. That was a good recommendation. Now the following one was, I'm not going to say a bad recommendation, but what you'll find is you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, you need to invest in this, they're going to go big soon. And sometimes you can get caught up in the hype. So this one here, Supply Me, you know, a new inventory company, and their shares were really going good. And unfortunately, I purchased pretty much at the top of that before they dropped all the way back down. So I bought in at 0.83, and then they're not doing very well currently. They're at 0.4. So, you know, I've made a loss of nearly £50 on that. Maybe they might go up in the future, but there's no guarantees. So I'm just going to have to own that for now. But this is probably a reason why it's best to invest in these indexes rather than a single share, because, you know, if I invested £1,000 in that one share, I could have lost all of that, right? Whereas the index, because it's covering so many different companies, some might go up, some might go down, but on average they generally go up, so it's a lot better. So let's quickly move on to something else, and this one is Tesla. Now, I've been wanting to invest in Tesla for a long time, and as with everything, I keep on putting it off. The shares were actually at £400 earlier on, if we have a look. Yeah, so August time they were around 400, and I should have made my purchase then, but I was kind of like, do I want to invest that much in a single share? So I didn't, and actually they continued to go up, and so I think I purchased around, what did I purchase at? Let's have a look. 591. So quite a high price. However, I do think they're going to continue to go up. So, you know, it's a bit early to say. I've made $15 on that so far. But I do think that's going to continue. So only time will tell. Of the 5 investments I've made, the last one is the Brazil index. And you may consider this as a little bit more of a risky one, but I'll explain my thinking behind it. And it's largely to do with the fact that, you know, the share prices have been all over the place this year because of COVID, and I kind of, like everyone, was wrapped up in what's going on, you know, job security, trying to handle life in general, and I kind of missed all of the things going on. So if we have a look at the FTSE 100, we can see here it dropped massively, and it's recovered a little bit. However, I've decided not to invest in the FTSE for a few reasons. It hasn't recovered. We've had more lockdowns, and also, you know, with Brexit at the end of December, I'm not too sure it's going to recover for a while yet, so I'm leaving that one. If we look at the S&P 500, we can see that in April that dropped significantly, and if I had been paying attention, I could have probably made some good money on that. However, I kind of missed it, and it recovered pretty fast. So I felt, what other markets could I capitalize on and make a bit more money? So if we have a look at this Brazil chart, I'll pull it up on my phone because it's a little bit different on the computer. We can see it's currently at 2,100, and at the peak it was 2,800. So I'm likely to make 33% return on that if it manages to recover fully. And I won't plan to hold that position for a long time, but if I can get that recovery, I'll probably take that money and invest it elsewhere. So fingers crossed I'll make that. At the moment, I've made £2, so, you know, it's going to take a little bit more time to recover, maybe 6 to 8 months, we'll see. Other people may advise, you know, outside of the S&P 500, it might be worth investing in gold to see how well, you know, that's normally a good one, maybe less for making money, but more to hold your value, because over time, you know, money depreciates. So let's quickly have a look at this gold here. So we can see in April, or just before April, it was around 18. And in actual fact, currently it's 23. So, you know, could have made a little bit of money on that. And it would have held well. However, in general, it moves very little, so you're just kind of putting your money there for the sake of it, And I think when you're working with a small amount of money like £1,000, it's not going to do much for you. So I'll just quickly show you. Currently, you know, money saving expert, they're currently saying, and this is updated daily, 0.6 to 1.3 fixed for your top savings account. So that would have been the most I could have made on that £1,000. So, you know, I would have made what, £10, which isn't much. What did I make? I've made roughly, you know, £55. So let's call it near enough. It's about 4.7%. Let's see whether I can do some calculations. We'll quickly work this out on screen so you can see how much I've made. So my account is 120. I've made 55 profit. So that's 1165. Okay, so we can see there I've made 4.7%. Okay, so not too bad for 6 months. 4 times, well, nearly 5 times better than the banks, right? So pretty good going. But here's the real question, and that is, if I'd have just invested that in the S&P 500, how much would I have made? So let's flick back here. So let's have a look at this, S&P 500. So if I'd have invested, let's say around June, it's around about 3,200, okay? So 3,200, and currently it's, well, it's nearly 3,700. But even if we said 3,600, let's do that. We're going to do 3,600 divided by 3,200. Okay, that's 12.5%. So if I'd invested my £1,000 at the beginning, or when I opened it in the S&P 500, nothing else, I could have made 12.5%. That would have been if I'd have put the whole £1,000 in. Obviously incrementally it may have been less, and it's normally advised that you do incrementally so you don't lose too much in one go if there's any big movements. But there we go, right? So I would have made over £100, so £120 rather than my £55. So this would be my advice to you. If you're thinking about investing a little bit of money, maybe £100 each month, and seeing how it goes, you know, definitely worth investing in an index. You've seen what can happen with shares. You know, Tesla's doing okay. I think that'll do well. Aston Martin, for me, I think will do well over the next year or so. I really have no clue about that other one, Supply Me, whether or not it'll recover and pull through. If it does, I may stand chance to make some gains. But as it stands, it's a little bit risky. I do have the option, if it ever made it to the same point I bought in, maybe I could just pull out at that point and cut my losses. So, but I hope you found this video helpful. It's a little bit different to the usual ones. I know a lot of people talking about what you can invest in. You don't usually see what they've invested, and you normally only see a good news story, like you'll see them, oh look how much money I've made by doing this. But I wanted to be realistic. Like, ultimately you will see good deals coming about, or maybe not good deals, but you might get some good recommendations. And as I say, you don't always know what's going to happen in the future, so you can only make your decision best with the information you got at the time. And you know, so far so good for me. I'm going to keep on plodding on, and I'm probably going to start avoiding shares now, and I'm probably going to take this advice and just start investing in either my Scottish mortgage fund, which seems to be doing well for me, or I'm going to be investing in the S&P. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and definitely hit that subscribe button for more videos like this so you can see my progress, how well my account's doing in the future. And of course, I plan to make more videos on different topics. I'm not too sure yet what the future holds, but you won't know unless you're a subscriber. So on that note, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.